Hey guys, and welcome to the Bayern View. Hopefully everybody is doing okay. We are here, and we are here for a special one, which is Bayern versus Boca Juniors preview, Club World Cup preview. And yeah, man, I've got a very, very special guest. So before I introduce the special guest, the link is in the title. Please go over, hit the subscribe button, so on and so forth. And yeah, man. But yeah, without further ado, welcome to the channel, Rank. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a huge game. When we saw the draw happen, this was the game that personally I was looking forward to the most, because I think that it's by far the two biggest clubs in the group, and it's going to be an amazing clash, a historic one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a decider for the group as well.
Yeah, 1,000, man. 1,000. And you know, it's I feel like the tournament so far, I would say, has been a bit boring in certain games, I would say. And it's going to be interesting because, especially in our group, this was the one I was looking forward to. You know, we played Benfica in the Champions League, and it was a boring game. You know what I mean? So, and I know full well that you know the Argentinian teams and the South American teams as a whole are known for, you know, coming in and you know, fighting basically for the 3 points or whatever the thing is. So, but yeah, man, what do you going into the group before the game started? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think you would qualify and go through, or what did you think?
Personally, not. I was keeping my expectations very low going into this group, not because I thought that Boca lacked the talent to actually progress out of this group, but just because look at how the season has gone for us and what our last few years have been like. I felt like Boca has shown a lot of flaws in their game, and it seemed like we could never keep up when the pressure was on. And so I thought that perhaps the experience of the European teams would be enough to overpower us, and that in the key moments, the key situations, is where we will falter. And we saw a bit of that against Benfica already, and we'll get to that. But yeah, I think that overall Boca surprised me in that first game, especially when we were 2-0 up. I was expecting us to struggle a lot more against Benfica. And yeah, but we took the game to them. We played pretty well. And I think that we need to show something similar against Bayern if we want to have a chance. But I was keeping my expectations fairly low going into the group because really these past few years for Boca have not been great. Like as the biggest club in Argentina and in the continent, I would argue, past 2 years when trophyless, not playing in the Copa Libertadores has been quite disastrous. But this is a tournament where it could all change because, like you were saying, with the South American teams, usually the Europeans don't really care much about the Club World Cup. But for the South Americans, it's a big occasion because you get to test yourself against the best teams in the world. And so for all of the South American teams, the Club World Cup is highly regarded. And what was before the Intercontinental Cup as well, between the Copa Libertadores winner and the Champions League winner, was also a huge trophy to win. And so, we're going to come in with a fight, and we'll just have to see if it's enough.
No, I'm with you. When I did my predictions, obviously you will know your team way more than me, of course. But when I did my predictions, it was those two teams, Bayern and Boca, that would go through. I just feel like Benfica, they've been a bit of a weird team in the recent years. Obviously got a load of their players have gone early, maybe too early. Nunes, obviously, going to Liverpool and being trash. To be fair, João Neves is still really good at PSG, but they're known for producing talent, but at the same time, you know what I mean, they just don't seem to be good. And I did watch. I'm sure you watched your game, but I watched it as well, and very, very interesting game. Before we do go straight to that game, though, did you see Bayern versus Auckland?
I did. Actually, I came home a bit late. And so when I turned on the TV, it was already 3-0 up to Bayern. So I lost a bit of the context. But obviously, I guess we all knew what was going to happen because we know that Auckland are an amateur team and they're coming from the weakest continent. So it was expected that it would happen. It didn't really change my perception of Bayern. The fact that you actually managed to score 10 past them, obviously, it was pretty impressive. But I think that either way, my mentality going into this game was going to be the same. But it was a good showing from you guys, of course.
No, 1,000. I do feel bad for them. Like, I know that obviously the interview and so on with Olise saying no, and I understand why he would say that because at the end of the day they've got a job to do and that's to score goals. But like the fact that their goalkeeper had to take leave just to go to the competition in itself, it's crazy. But either way, to be fair, I actually think their goalkeeper was their best player. Which sounds mad considering he conceded 10 goals. But at the same time, there's that. Moving more onto your game, though. Again, I did watch it. The reason I watched it, obviously, I want to see what both teams were going to do. And actually, what a very interesting game. I'm going to get your opinion on it in just a second. There was actually some red cards in there as well, and some, a lot of fight in there, and the aggression and so on and so forth. What did you think of the game? Again, you're the Boca Juniors fan, so what did you think going into that?
So the way that Boca decided to approach the game surprised me. It was our first game under this manager. I mean, Miguel Angel Russo. He's actually his third stint at the club. He coached us all the way back in 2007 and then again in 2020. So he's got some experience in him with the club especially, but maybe not with this group of players. But it was his first game in charge after we sacked Fernando Gago last tournament during the season. So it was a huge question mark what the mentality of the team and what the team was actually going to look like under this new management. And we proposed Benfica a very physical game. The first 15 minutes, I think that we were pretty disastrous. We couldn't get past the halfway line. Benfica were all over us and we were struggling. But after we scored with that fantastic play from Lautaro Blanco on the left and the great assist for Merentiel, the game just kind of opened for us. I think that Benfica were kind of caught off guard. They were rattled. They were missing passes in the midfield that they shouldn't be missing. They were leaving a lot of space for us, and that's how we managed to find a second goal then on the set piece. So overall, that was already a surprising start for me because I was expecting us to really struggle. The fact that we were 2-0 up that early into the game had me pretty surprised. But after that, I think that the Boca I knew from these last few years showed up, and which was the one that is lacking the intelligence to close the game out, to see the game through. We conceded that penalty. It was a soft penalty, very soft penalty, but it was bad defending on the end on the side of Palacios. Di Maria is able to get one back. And in the second half, we were pretty tight at the back. We were defending pretty well. Benfica didn't create a lot of chances. Belotti gets sent off, and I thought that, well, being a man up, we were able to close the game out. But no, we get caught lucky in a set piece as well. Otamendi with the header. And yeah, after that, Figal gets sent off as well near the end. We see that kind of thing that I was seeing with Boca previously, that whenever it seems like we're doing well, the pressure is on in a big game, we are so quick to press the self-destruct button and something goes wrong, absolutely wrong at some point. It's not only one player as well, it's always one specific player, but it changes who is actually the one who does something stupid and we lose control of the game. So yeah, it was pretty disappointing because if we had won that game, we would have been through, in my opinion. We just needed to beat Auckland and we were into the round of 16. So now it's up in the air. It's in a nice edge if we're actually going to qualify or not. A lot depends on this game against Bayern. But yeah, it was a surprising performance. I was just disappointed that we couldn't close it out, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, you know, it's one of those games. What are you personally expecting from Bayern Munich?
From Bayern Munich, well, you guys have a lot of great offensive talent. What I've been seeing over in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League as well. I think that Michael Olise has been a game changer for you guys ever since he's come on. I feel like the Bayern attack has been revitalized in a way. Obviously, Harry Kane is an amazing goal scorer. I think that the contributions of Kimmich are still very important. Everyone in the attack of Bayern is very, very threatening. I think that our best chance is going to have to be to, again, be physical, be organized at the back, try to not allow your quick players a lot of space, and then try to hit on the counter. If we can manage to do that, I think that we may have a chance, but obviously I think that Bayern have some of the best players in the world, and you are one of the best teams in the world. And so even if we play a perfect game, it's going to be very difficult for us to actually get a result. But if we were to get something, it would have to be a very similar game to what we did against Benfica. And yeah, just try to get lucky on the day, I suppose.
Yeah, no, you never know, obviously, of course. The likelihood is Bayern is obviously going to, perform well, but you just never know. And we've seen it, as Bayern fans, we've seen it the season just gone where we have gone against teams that we should beat in quotation marks, and then we haven't. So it's going to be very interesting in that. If I'm right, is it Arda Herrera that got red carded for you guys?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Ander Herrera got a red card when he was on the bench, and then Nicolas Figal, one of our center backs, got sent off near the end, and that was when the game was 10-10. So yeah, those two guys will be suspended.
Okay. I'm guessing they're like your main players.
Well, Ander Herrera hasn't been getting a lot of minutes. Like, obviously, we know his quality. He's played at Manchester United. He's played at PSG. But he actually hasn't gotten a lot of minutes for Boca because he's just been so injury prone. And we actually saw that when against Benfica, he had to be subbed out 20 minutes in. Like, the guy's legs just cannot keep up anymore. Similar thing with Cavani. And so I don't think that Herrera will truly be missed in this game, especially because against Bayern, I feel like we're going to need legs more than a technical player that can pass the ball, because I don't think we're going to have a lot of the ball. As for Figal, he's not a defender that I particularly like, but we don't have a lot of options at the center-back position. The options would be to drop Battaglia, who was playing in the midfield, in the center midfielder role against Benfica, drop him to a center-back, but that's not my preferred position for him. Personally, I would play Lautaro Di Lolo, who is one of our young center-backs coming from the academy. He's not very experienced, but I would just need to have a center-back in that position. I don't want a midfielder playing center-back against Bayern, and just try to see if we can actually cover the spaces. So I don't think that the suspended players will actually play a huge role in this game, but it's just going to be about the order and the tactical approach to the game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. What is the news and the update on Cavani? What I've seen, if I'm right by saying, is that he will be on the bench, if anything.
Yeah, it's very likely that Cavani is on the bench. He's been carrying a knock for what feels like forever. He hasn't been playing regularly for the past 2 months for Boca. It seems like he is always carrying some sort of injury, which is quite frustrating. And even when he is on the pitch, he isn't really creating much. Obviously, it's hard to play striker in a team that doesn't give you a lot of service, but Cavani just doesn't offer much in terms of playmaking and bouncing the balls off to his teammates in the way that Merentiel does. So I think that even though Cavani is obviously a big name and his talent cannot be understated, if he's going to be carrying a knock and he doesn't really contribute much to a game where Boca are going to have to be very physical, I think that even if he was fit, it would be the correct option to have him on the bench. And if we really need a goal, there's a potential for him to come on. But with him being still kind of injured, I think that I wouldn't really risk it at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one. I didn't realize that he was injured before the tournament started. So, that was another reason why I thought, you might be a bit, get a set piece or, like a corner or something and he scores off of it. Or you never know with Cavani. Obviously, he's a great player. But yeah, with the tournament as a whole, though, obviously, of course, you're a Boca Juniors fan, I'm a Bayern fan, and so on. But what have you made of the tournament so far?
I think the tournament has been pretty interesting so far. We obviously saw so many clashes between teams that usually don't get to play against each other. And I was happy to see, especially the CONMEBOL teams, do pretty well. CONMEBOL is actually unbeaten as of the recording of this video. And we saw that Palmeiras got a draw against Porto, Boca got a draw against Benfica, Fluminense got a draw against Dortmund. So we see that the South American teams are actually competing on the top level against the Europeans, which is something that maybe people predating the tournament wouldn't have expected. But we are seeing a few upsets, and I think that it shows that the football landscape across the world is just a very even playing field. Even though Europe has the influx of money and they get to sign the best players from all the continents, everyone just kind of plays football in a similar way, with the way that information just spreads all over the place with coaching. Every team can give you a good game on their day, and I really like what I've seen so far at the Club World Cup. Even obviously we get these games like the Bayern Auckland game where one team is just absolutely superior to the other and they get demolished. But for the most part, the games have been pretty tight, even when you didn't expect them to be. And I think that overall it has been an enjoyable experience, and there's still room for, even though I think that it's bound to happen that a European team wins the whole thing, I think that we could expect some upsets on the way.
And I'm with that. I thought that Al Hilal getting the draw against Madrid yesterday was an amazing thing for them. Again, it's a draw, so realistically, Real Madrid could still, go against the go against the other two teams, go on to win the whole thing, and so on. But that was definitely a win for football yesterday, in the fact that this is obviously the reason the Club World Cup is a thing, because otherwise it would just obviously be another glorified Champions League or a glorified UEFA competition. So yeah, man, I'm with that 1,000. Before the Club World Cup started, who did you think was going to win, in your opinion?
Well, just seeing the form that they finished the season in, my prediction was that PSG was going to win it. And I think that they had a really strong performance in their debut game against Atletico Madrid. They looked like by far the best team, at least outside, at least from Europe, from the European teams. They've looked super, super good. And I think that just the performance that they've showed, especially in the Champions League final, and just the way that Luis Enrique has gotten the best out of every single player, I thought that if anyone was going to win it, it would be likely PSG. But obviously you still have some big names there, like Man City, like Real Madrid, Bayern as well. I think that everyone has a fair shout, but as of now, I think that PSG should be the favorites.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That was actually my pick as well. I think a lot of people would have, will agree with you and will have the same opinion as you. PSG are ridiculous, from all of it. From their goalkeeper's amazing, their defense is very good, even though they got an aging Marquinhos in there. Pacho's doing amazing. Obviously, both their fullbacks are fantastic. Then their midfield alone is a joke. I think Vitinha is one of the best players in the world right now. It's crazy. And then obviously their attack is just bonkers, to be honest with you. Trying to quickly find what would happen. There's the bracket. Okay. So if they were to Boca were to go through, who would you guys get? I can't think off the top of my head.
So we are linking up with the group that has Chelsea and Flamengo. So if we were to finish second and Chelsea would to top their group, it would be Chelsea against Boca in the round of 16. I'm pretty sure.
What would you think would happen in that game? Do you think you could beat Chelsea if that was the case or not?
Honestly, getting out of the group would already be a success for Boca, I think. Against Chelsea, we would just have to play the same game that we were playing against the European teams, just try to be physical, try to be tight at the back and hit on the counter. Honestly, Chelsea are not the scariest of teams, in my opinion. But obviously, I don't think we would be the favorites. But it wouldn't be an impossible game, like maybe like a 70-30 in favor of Chelsea. But there's always a chance for an upset in that one. I don't know. If we were to be in the round of 16, I think I would already be a bit satisfied with Boca's performance. But if we were to get something against Chelsea and make the quarterfinals, that would be fantastic, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. Who do you expect tomorrow to be, the standout? Like for instance. I don't watch Boca Juniors. The only time I've watched Boca Juniors was in the Club World Cup, the Benfica game that we spoke about. But who, for like anyone that comes on this video, sees this video and so on, who would be the guy to look out for tomorrow, like from your end?
From my end, I believe it would have to be Merentiel, who scored the first goal. He's been our best striker, and that is saying something considering that we have Cavani. The guy is just a beast. Like, his nickname is the Beast because the guy just runs all over the pitch. He likes to press so much. He is all over the goalkeeper and the back line trying to strip the ball away from them. He links up very well. He drifts to the side and tries to create some space for his teammates as well. And we see that his finishing is also pretty good. So he's a very complete striker overall. And I think that if anyone would get something from for us in this game, it would be him. We just have to give the ball to him, hope to hit in the counter, and maybe he can hold up play and wait for the wingers to click online and just go for it. He would be the main guy to look forward to. If we were to talk in a kind of like creative position, maybe Carlos Palacios would be the one to look out for. He's from Chile. He's been pretty good. He's an on and off player. When he's good, he's really good. When he's off, he's just terrible. We saw against Benfica, he had a really bad game, and he was actually the one who committed the foul for the penalty. But if he's on his game, I think that he can be pretty good with the breakthrough passes, with the combination play in that number 10 role. Besides that, we're just going to need a big game from our defense, Bataglia in the midfield. I really want to see Milton Delgado get more minutes, but he's a youngster, so Russo doesn't really give him a lot of minutes in the midfield, even though I think he's proven in that position. Yeah. And then if Lautaro Blanco, who got the assist in the left back position, if he can have another good game, his crosses are pretty dangerous. He just needs to be on his day, and his delivery can be pretty important for us too.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one as well. Do you have any? I know that obviously I've invited you on my channel, but do you have any questions for me? And like a Bayern perspective.
So, well, what is your overall? I know that before you said that Boca would progress out of this group, but what was overall what you were expecting from Boca before the tournament, and what are you expecting Bayern to do to try and win this game?
Yeah, so just before the tournament, like I said again, I did say that Boca would go through, and then obviously you've got Chelsea. I did think that the European would go again. You never know what's going to happen. On Bayern end, I think we need to be very creative. Joshua Kimmich is known for slowing down the play. It's very frustrating. He likes to, stop the ball rather than progressing fast, maybe down the wing, through the middle, or the other side. He likes to stop the play, pass backwards, and it's very, very frustrating. And it's definitely a reason why he, for me personally, needs to leave. I know a lot of people like him, but, for me personally. But yeah, to beat Boca, we're going to have to be very physical in the tackle, but not too physical. You don't want to get a red card, a stupid decision, a penalty, so on and so forth. And then we're going to have to, hit you on the break if we can. Like when you do have the ball, obviously you're going to have limited time on the ball, of course. So it's going to be very interesting to see, if you do something from the times you do have the possession. So for me personally, I feel again we're going to have a lot of the ball. Probably going to be whipping in crosses left, right, and centre. The problem is Harry Kane is known recently, well, in his Bayern tenure anyway, not for being in the box all the time, which is pretty frustrating. When you've had strikers like Mandzukic and Lewandowski and so on. So yeah, I can definitely see Elise cutting inside and banging one top corner. He seems to have that in his locker. But yeah, we're going to need a big performance. Jamal Musiala come on and change the game. He like, again, I know that we were ridiculous amount of goals up, but the fact that the guy come on and scored a hat trick in itself, and again, it's an amateur team and so on, but you still got to go and do it. You never know. So, and especially with these pitches as well, these American pitches are a little bit different to the European ones, and I'm sure obviously the ones we have in South America as well. So the fact they come on and did that, but yeah, I think that is how we would win. I think individual brilliance will be why we win. I'm a bit hit and miss with certain players. I'm not really too sure off the top of my head what the manager will go with. Will he go 100% attack? Is he going to go a bit play some of the kids? For me personally, I would play a couple of them because you're never really going to get to go against a team like Boca, obviously not in Europe. So give them that opportunity to be like, what, Boca Juniors are there. You might be hard in the tackle, you might be hard to to keep the ball and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like the experience wise, rather than going against these European teams that all play low block. So yeah, hopefully I answered your question on that one.
One other question that I was, obviously, the Bayern fans and the influence that they have on their game, especially when you play at home. And the Boca fans are also pretty well known worldwide. Do you think that the game on the stands would affect anything on the pitch, or do you think that is going to be left aside and everything's going to happen on the pitch?
I definitely feel like when our game is late, isn't it, in America?
Yeah, it's a late one.
So I feel like a lot of fans, obviously South American fans, German fans, if they've travelled over and so on, are definitely gonna be there to to support the team and be the 12th man and so on. But yeah, like even I actually see it being a packed out arena. We've already seen in the Club World Cup that for some reason FIFA have put certain games on when people are still at work. Don't understand why they would do that. So yeah, no, 1,000. You're known for having very, very intense fans. Obviously same goes back to Bayern. So yeah, no, I 100%. Your team definitely could, get an advantage from the 12th man, if that makes any sense, with your fans, raring them on, if that makes sense. But what do you think of? Not what do you think of River Plate? Because I have a reason or a thing in my head that you're going to say that they're bad. But what are you making of what they're doing?
No, I think I watched their game, obviously, against Urawa Red Diamonds, the Japanese team. I think it was a solid performance. I don't think they were fantastic or anything, but they got the job done against a team that were pretty nervous at the start of the game. They conceded pretty quickly, but after Urawa actually got on the ball, they managed to create a bit of threat. I thought that if a few things went differently, maybe the Japanese team could have gotten a result in that game, but River were pretty clinical with their chances. They scored 3 headers, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. And yeah, they got the job done. They are, especially with then the other result in the group with Monterrey getting a draw against Inter, it kind of opens the group up for them. If they could beat Monterrey on the second match, they will give them a lot of chances to not only to progress, but actually to top the group, which would be amazing for them. They did, Sebastian Drusi did get injured, and that was their main striker. And so it's going to have to be a question of who fills in to actually get the goals for them. But if they can sort that thing out, they are obviously one of the South America's biggest hopes to actually go far in this tournament, to my frustration. But no, they actually did pretty well in that first game. They needed to win it, and they just did the job. So far, it's been a solid performance from them, but they need to keep it up because we saw that Monterrey could actually be a pretty serious team. And if they fall asleep at the wheel in that game, it could get pretty dicey for them as well.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And yeah, what we thinking score-wise for tomorrow's game? Your prediction?
It's tough. It's tough. So looking at the groups,
head and heart. What's your head saying and what's your heart saying?
so before the game against Benfica, I actually, you sent me a DM asking me to do this collab before the game against Benfica, and I told you have no idea how easy this game is going to be for you, because I was really expecting Boca to absolutely self-destruct, have no chance in this group, especially against the European teams. And so I was sure that we would have no chance in this game. After the game against Benfica, I actually began to believe once again. And I think that's actually bad for me. But there's some belief there that if things go right for us, we could potentially get a result in this game. But realistically, I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that the mentality for the players is going to have to be, even if you don't think that you're going to win this game, the mentality has to be that you have to win this game. If we try to defend from the get-go, we're not going to go far. We have to actually go get you guys, and if we are going to pick up a result, it's going to be by actually trying to attack and be offensive, be on the ball. And so the mentality for the players need to be that we can win this game. Yeah. Realistically, the objective is to lose by the lowest score as possible, because if the order of the group goes as we think it will be, realistically, Benfica should lose to Bayern as well, but they are going to beat Auckland. So it's going to come down to goal difference if that were to be the case. So if we can concede the least amount of goals in this game, it would already be a success. So I think that my prediction would be a 2-0 win for Bayern. Okay. And I think that would leave the door open for Boca to potentially get something in the final match day, obviously depending on how many goals that Benfica get against Auckland. But the expectations will be there for the final match day. And yeah, we just have to play our game and try to see if we can actually get something in this game. If we could get a draw, that already puts us in a fantastic position going into the final match day. But we cannot go in with the mentality to try and only defend, because that's going to be our downfall.
Of course, yeah. Because if you're just going to literally sit back and just try to defend a 0-0 or whatever, you know, you're going to give it, obviously play the roll of the dice into Bayern's hands. So, no, I agree with you. Me personally, I do think you're going to get a goal. I don't know if maybe we give away a penalty or maybe a set piece or something. But I do think you're going to get a goal, which is going to be annoying because I want Manuel Neuer to have a clean sheet. So hopefully it'll be a clean sheet. But I'm going to go with a 4-1. I think 4-1 is I feel like we will get goals. There will be opportunities for us, of course, because we're going to have a hell of a lot of the ball. And it maybe just maybe there is a draw. Maybe this is a crazy game, and Bayern aren't as good as because again we played an amateur team. It's going to be very interesting to see what Benfica do when they go against Auckland. Will they make it hard for themselves? Are they going to smash them like we did? And then obviously vice versa for when you guys go against them as well. But yeah, no, I'm with you. If you can get a low scoring loss, if that makes any sense, then we can definitely You can definitely, not we can definitely. Why am I saying it like I'm a Boca fan? You can definitely, go on and see what you could do against Chelsea. So no, I'm with you. One thing with it is, wow, if let's just say that in a hypothetical we beat you 3-1 or something like that, or it's a draw, right? And then you guys beat Auckland, and then we beat Boca. Not Boca, you are Boca. We beat Benfica. Sorry. Would you then go through with that?
Well, yeah. If we get a draw and then we beat Auckland, we're on 5 points. And if you guys beat Benfica, then they're on 4 points. There we advance with no goal difference involved. If the logic things happens and we lose to Bayern, Benfica beats Auckland, and then the same things happen vice versa, like you beat Benfica and we beat Auckland, then it comes down to goal difference because both we and Benfica would be on 4 points. And so this is going to be the late kickoff, so we will already know by how many goals Benfica beat Auckland. So coming into the final match day, we will know how many goals we need to score to advance, but then we still need you guys to beat Benfica. So that was one of the main questions for me. Like, if you beat Boca in this second game, you're already on 6 points and qualified. Do you think that Bayern has the motivation to still go 100% against Benfica and try to get that result, which would benefit Boca? Or do you think that there's a chance that, Bayern just kind of relax, they sit for the draw, top the group, and the draw is enough for Benfica to advance?
Yeah, I don't see us sitting back and being comfortable. I feel like, well, for me personally, what I want Bayern to do, if we were, let's just say we do beat you 4-0, and we're basically already through, and then we go against Benfica and it's a terrible game. That for me makes Bayern look weak,
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go there and we have to smash them. You know what I mean? We have to go there and put in a good performance to win. So yeah, I'd be very, very frustrated with Bayern if they were to do that. I feel like we definitely are in it to win it, rather than just being there and see where we can go. Personally, so that's personally how I would see that. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen. To see if with the Club World Cup, just in general. The fact that Al Hilal realistically could go and top their group, is crazy. Obviously, you've got others in there as well. Man City didn't look amazing in their game. Some of the big European teams do look like they're not really with it, but you just never know. Real Madrid could turn up and smash everyone by a couple of goals and win the whole thing. So, because I'm right by saying they have the most Club World Cups, if I'm right by saying so. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Is there any final thoughts, mate? Any final thoughts?
No, I think it's going to be a very, very exciting game. It's going to be, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat the entire way through. I don't think I'm going to be relaxed at all because it's one of those games that happens once in a lifetime, basically. We don't get the chance to go up against European sides that often, especially in a competitive game. So I think that's huge, especially a club of the size of Bayern Munich as well. So it's gonna be fantastic. Just hope that the result, even if it doesn't go our way, it kind of goes our way, if you know what I mean, because we are really looking into that goal difference at the moment. One thing that I was really scared about after that draw against Benfica was that we're smashing Auckland and we're doing our job, and we still need that one goal from Bayern to qualify in the final match day, and so that could be like pretty nerve-wracking for me. So if we could do something here, we have to play our cards right, and yeah, just try to show what Boca is made out of, because I think that we are also one of the biggest clubs in the world, shown by the trophies, by the fans, by our international success. And so I think that we need to actually go on and show that, even if we have a much weaker squad on paper, we need to try and make the most out of what we got, and yeah, just try to make our fans proud. It's going to be a great game. Yeah,
no, 1,000. I'm really with that. And I actually agree with what one of the people in the comments are saying, Zia. He's a good friend of mine. This guy is actually a Halal fan. So yeah, I agree with him in the fact that he said, it's one of those games where it's do or die for the representation of the continent, without a doubt. 1 second, let me clear my throat. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, question. Do you guys why am I getting a phone call in the middle of my stream? What's going on? Sorry. Do you guys have any players that we have to look out for that's not named Cavani?
Yeah, well, that interesting question, because obviously Boca do have those big names that have played in Europe that you guys probably recognize: Cavani, Rojo, Ander Herrera, who got sent off in the first game. Sergio Romero is on the bench still. Marchesín is playing in goal instead. So you have some players that have actually played in Europe, have made a name for themselves, especially for the national team, but they don't actually get many minutes because Rojo has been dropped out of the squad because of his lacking performances. Ayrton Costa is now our starting left-footed centre-back, and he had a fantastic game against Benfica. Cavani doesn't get many minutes either. Herrera is not going to participate. So, even those big names that played in Europe aren't really the names to look out for, because they aren't going to be participating, basically. They have been dropped out because Boca has become some sort of retirement home for them, which is quite annoying. But no, the names that I mentioned earlier, like Merentiel, Blanco, Palacios, and Bataglia, will be the guys that I would look out for. Even if they are not the big names that you are used to seeing in Europe, they are the ones who are going to put in the work to try and make this the best result as possible for us.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 1,000. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Much, Leon, greatly appreciated for giving me your time. More insight into the club, rather than just being, an arrogant European fan where it's like, yeah, we're gonna go and smash this team. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know a lot of them or have watched them and so on. But yeah, again, people, 16 of you in here, and people that are watching this while this is not live and it's gone up as a video, please go over and hit the subscribe button. Show the Bayern View support over on Rank's channel. That would be much and greatly appreciated. Yeah, man. Again, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
No, thank you for having me.
1,000, bro. With that said, people, we will be back later on tonight for another video, and then obviously we'll cover all the press conference and so on and so forth. You guys know what we do on the channel. But yeah, bless up to everybody. Hopefully everyone's good. Yeah, until then, yes, I'm here. Peace out, people.